borderline personality disorder. String of bad luck. A couple years where me and law enforcement did not get along. Every time that I would encounter law enforcement, I would wind up getting to spend time in their charming little jails. What the fuck is that noise? I've now found the one flaw to my new studio. If you'd like to know the flaw that I've found to my new studio, I will be discussing it over on Patreon, where I do my daily journal entries. The link for Patreon is in the description below. To make a short story long, right? I was constantly in and out of jail, probation violation, which was pretty much it. I got caught for drugs a few times, and after that, I just never reported to probation officers. I didn't care. And so constantly, I would get out of jail, and I'd automatically have a warrant within 24 hours, because when you get released from jail, you're supposed to report to your PO within 24 hours. I didn't do that. I didn't even think about that. Didn't consider it. It never was even an option. So yeah, I always had a warrant, and I was always going to jail. Pissing me off. It was pissing me off because there was nothing I could do about it. If I went to go see my PO, it wasn't going to make anything better. I was a drug addict. I was homeless. I was stealing to get money for drugs. I had no intentions of quitting drugs. Why should I go see the PO? Just to lie to him? So here I am. I'm in court again. And I was in court over another probation violation type thing. So the judge gives me my sentence. Under my breath, I said, well, why don't you take a fucking number? I did not realize how powerful the microphones in a courtroom are. And he's staring at me, just a little, like, shocked looking. He's like, what was that, Mr. BPD? Now, at this point, I should have said nothing. I could have probably maybe gotten away with it. He gave me an out. But I was extremely pissy that day. I looked him square in the eyes. I said, why don't you take a fucking number? And without missing a beat, this was his response. 30 days in county, he gave me some more fines, and he's like, and then why don't we go ahead and suspend your license as well? How's that for a number, Mr. BPD? Well, I had just gotten bitch slapped by the judge. My response was, that's acceptable. And then I was carted off to jail. A couple years have gone by. My license is now suspended. But in my mind, I still have a license because I am not allowing myself to accept that it's suspended, even though it is. But I do not believe it was suspended for anything that really legally should be able to stand up in court. A driver's license is for the operation of a motor vehicle, not so that judges and shit can just take it away to penalize you. That is bullshit. I still don't find that to be right. And if you tell somebody that you don't have your license, they act like they always think it's driving related, right? It would make sense. If your license is suspended, then you did something while driving. And I get pissed off because I am an excellent driver. It's one of the things I do that I'm really damn good at. If you want proof of how good I am at driving, I've driven at least 5 times completely blacked out drunk and never been in an accident or killed anybody, made it home safely. I even parked good. So if you don't think I can drive, well, my blackouts prove you wrong. The fact my license was suspended over just telling the judge to take a number pissed me off. I wasn't going to accept it, so I just didn't tell people my license was suspended. That was a lot to say. Since I'm such a good driver, I never get pulled over anyway. Well, had this person not asked me if I had my license, everything would have been fine. But since they asked me and I had to lie to them, they forced my hand, right? They forced me into having to lie. What do you think happens? I borrow the car and I get pulled over. And the reasoning for me getting pulled over was so stupid. I was at a light waiting to take a left turn. One thing I've not told you yet is that this was a manual transmission. I'd only driven a manual transmission a few times. Was not that good at it yet. And I could never, my biggest hurdle was getting from park to first without stalling. Every time I tried to go from park to first, I'd stall the son of a bitch. And it's embarrassing. My solution for that was, I realized that if you really revved it up and had the RPMs up there, you could go into first without stalling it. It just looked like you were trying to race or something. So that was my solution. I would just give it a lot of gas first. I hadn't learned the proper gas to clutch ratio. So I'm waiting to make a left turn. I'm also on a hill. There's a slope, and in a manual transmission, if there's a slope, you'll roll backwards, of course. And I'm sitting there, and did I mention it's around 2:30 in the morning, which coincidentally, in the state I live in, 2:30 is when the bars close. Well, actually, the bars close. There's bar time, which is 2:20. At 2:20, they officially say they're closed. That gives them 10 minutes to get everybody out. So at 2:30, the drunks are usually just getting in their cars and hitting the road. Well, it just happens to be around 2:30. Waiting to make a left, and it's the longest damn light in the world. I swear this light was long. 2:30 in the morning, it shouldn't even be red. Up beside me pulls a sheriff, going straight. And normally, like I said, I give it a lot of gas. Well, since there was a sheriff right there, I definitely didn't want to stall it. If I stalled it, I knew it was just going to suck. I'd also done quite a bit of methamphetamine this evening. So I overdid my normal heavy gas to do just basically the way I guess it could have looked. I thought you wanted my attention, or you wanted to race or something. I just wanted to clear it up. Well, of course, he finds out that my license is suspended. This is a lovely state of car thieves. If you are driving with a suspended license, they will take your vehicle. They will not let you call somebody with a license. They're not nice about it. They are dicks. It is better to drive without insurance than without a license. I've got to walk back to my buddy's house. Well, I mean, I could have just never saw that guy again. I could have just gone to Mexico, but I decided, like I said, I take responsibility for my shit. I own my responsibility. There's no reason for me to need to hide it. So I did what I had to do. I was a man about it. I went over to his house, went to him, and I told him, you're not going to like this. Your car is an impound. That you had to harass me about this whole license thing anyway, jinxed the whole situation. Owned a manual. If you could be like every other normal person and have an automatic, that this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have gotten pulled over and the cop wouldn't have found out I didn't have my license. But anyway, you know where your car is at. I'll see what I can do to get it out of impound, but you know I don't have money. I'm just a broke drug addict, so. See, I own my responsibility. I think it's good to own your responsibility. I don't actually take responsibility for anything. I am not that stupid. I'm not going to fall for that. Maybe shift blame over to something else. I will go with that first. BPD, never take responsibility for anything. When truly backed into the corner, shift blame, throw them off by making the responsibility for what led up to this moment, your mistake, be their fault. Get pissed, really pissed, more pissed than them over it. Once again, throwing them off their game. Make them apologize for this so they don't do it again. The fuck is that? Find out on Patreon. So it just starts out with, you aware you have, I believe, sorry, you aware you have, I believe. So it's kind of a question and kind of not, but so I respond back with, fucking leave it to be the ones that fuck me over on the 30-day trial. I've been jumping from one to another for months, just using free trials. First time had an issue with the cancellation. Sorry, I will make sure this doesn't happen again. I will call them, make them give me a confirmation number, their name, all that stuff. Fucking cocksuckers. Yeah. Which then I get the response back with, if you call them and let them know that you tried and had issue, they'll reimburse you. True, unless someone let that one slip and spaced it. And they were ashamed and angry at themselves for being such a fucking stupid fuck up. Didn't want to admit to that. Had dropped the ball and forgotten. Especially because they, up until now, had been very on top of it. Had just simply gotten lazy. Some people should just accept what they are told instead of making others feel like shit for a mistake. The response I got back wasn't the one I was expecting. It was, you're human, it's bound to happen sooner or later. Even I make mistakes occasionally. So totally nice and understanding about it, but still, even though they were nice and understanding about it, I was still pissed at the fact that I had to admit to something. A little side note, just by the way, I did happen to call this place, and I did get the reimbursement. So it all worked out in the end. I did get reimbursed for it. Now the thing that, see, I'm still pissed off about this whole situation, which makes no real logical sense. I shouldn't be pissed off about the situation because it all worked out fine. This person wasn't mad at me, got the money back. I'm still just really, really angry though. I'm still really angry at them. It's because in this situation, there was no way that the blame wasn't on me. I never realized that I don't take responsibility for things. I've always considered myself to be very quick to take responsibility. The first one to take responsibility. But the way I go about doing that is always over the top. I will either take responsibility and be so rude about it that it just doesn't seem like I care, so there's really no reason to get mad at me about it or anything, because I just don't care. Or there's just, I leave no room to debate it. Like, your car's an impound. I can't pay for it. I'm a drug addict. You should have known that. I don't know if a lot of people are just in shock about the way I do it or what, but most of the time it's just, people just accept it. I don't know if it's just the blunt honesty or whatever, but it's not taking responsibility. It's not copping up to it, really. I never realized how I did that. It was an awakening today to realize that I always try to shift blame, make it the other person's fault. I get very defensive when I screw up and have to admit to it. Very defensive, very angry. Where you would think that since I screwed up, the other people should be angry. Since it's my mistake, it doesn't go that way though. I'm the one that's angry at my screw up. And I get even more angry at the people that allowed the screw up to happen, if that makes sense. Like, as mad as I am at getting a guy's car towed, I'm more mad at him for not having the kind of car that I know how to drive. As mad at myself as I am about letting this trial thing slip my mind, I'm more angry at the person that allowed me the opportunity to let a free trial slide. And it's never really my fault, because had people around me not helped out or facilitated or been part of, it wouldn't happen. Like, I can't just make mistakes. I think it's that whole thing of being perfect. And I really think it comes down to a fear of, if I make a mistake, that's it. In my mind, I blow it up to, if I make any mistakes or I do anything wrong, that this person is just going to decide they never want to see me again, they hate me, it's going to be the end of the friendship. So I do everything I can to get out of having to admit to the mistake, as far as pinning it on them so that they maybe don't abandon me, because they'll realize that it was their fault, if that makes sense. I just realized it today, so I'm still coming to terms with it. I want to know if any of you find yourself doing this, or if you have not in the past, and now, maybe thinking back, have realized that you too maybe shift the blame or don't actually take responsibility. Let me know in the comment section below. If you've not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to make this channel go all legit, so we need to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and then we're going to take over the world. So you might want to be a part of it. So please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, keep on keeping on.
Was there a point to that? Where was I going with that? With the jail thing? Do you remember? Had something to do with something. The car. Whew, that was a close one. We almost wasted like 5 minutes. I just thought that was an interesting story. Oh yes, the car. God, why can I not keep on talking? We're talking about the car.